Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning on Instagram. Good morning on Facebook. And good morning to our Success Mentorship Network members of our mastermind group. Wow. Thanks so much for joining us today. Well, today, let me put us in the right context. Today is the first Saturday of the fourth month of the year. And that simply means that 3 months have gone by, and we have a little under 9 months left. So think about this for a moment. What we do from this point on will have a profound impact on on how much success we will achieve this year. This is Dr. Herbert Harris. This is Success Mentorship Class number 319. Wow. And our topic for today is, if you can think it, you can be it. I'll say that again. If you can think it, you can be it. It's, of course, based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and all the teachings that we have been sharing, oh gosh, for the last 6, 7 years. We recommend that you go to our website, herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com, and you can get copies of our book and many of our other inspirational and educational goodies, such as the Success Toolbox. So before we get started on this message today, let us get ourselves centered and ready to move into this lesson. So sit straight up in your seats, close your outer eyes, open your inner eyes, and take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Once more. I am at peace with myself. And just let that peace sink in for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And as we prepare for the lesson today, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. All right. Let me admit some of our new people. This topic is one that we really wanted to delve into because it will have a profound impact on the success that you will achieve in this year. Henry Ford had a quote that I think the world has just shared it over and over, and it said, if you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. We shorten it often to say, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So whatever thoughts you have about a particular endeavor is always correct. And it is because our thoughts become our manifested life experience. Our thoughts become our reality. So on this first Saturday of the fourth month, it is critical that we take the power tools, the things that can transform our lives, that can help us achieve our goals for this year, learn them, practice them, and master them. And your power of thought, as manifested through the choices you make, can make all the difference in the world. Your power of thought, manifested through the choices you make, create the life you experience. This idea of the power of thought is really, it's everywhere. In the 12 universal laws of success, the power of thought is the first law of success. In the Bible, it's laid out as the first law of success. And it says, as a mind, a man or woman, as a mind thinketh in its heart, so is it, so is he, so is she. And so this powerful truth is saying that whatever thoughts you have, coupled with how you feel about those thoughts, become your manifested life. Earl Nightingale said it very nice. Earl Nightingale said, you become what you think about most of the time. And so if you're not thinking about anything, something very curious happens. Nature does not like a vacuum. The Creator does not like a vacuum. And so if you don't fill your mind with thoughts, the world will fill your mind with world thoughts. Your thoughts really determine your experience of life. And this is really saying that whatever is going on in your life is a result of your own thinking. And sometimes that can be a hard lesson, especially when we're having tough times, when stuff is not going the way we want it to. That can be a super hard lesson because we don't want to take responsibility for our situation. But until we take responsibility for our situation, until we change our thoughts, our life will remain the same. It will be out of our control and in the control of the world mind. Now, that's not totally accurate because when you don't make a choice, that in itself is a choice. It's like gravity. Whether you agree with gravity or believe in gravity or not, if you jump out of this window, you're going to fall to the ground. So our thoughts can either enable us and uplift us or undermine us and eliminate the good things that we're doing. I love that the great ones, those people who have changed the world, have been able to take the power of thought and focus all their energy on that thought. Like a Thomas Edison, who focused his energy on discovering the light bulb, finding an element that was a filament. Of Steve Jobs, who had a thought. You know, and you think about it, when Steve Jobs came along, when Apple was being born, IBM was such a massive corporation that you even call computers IBM machines. They had branded that whole area. But along comes Steve Jobs with a thought. And he said that a computer is about more than X's and O's. A computer is about helping a person express themselves in a certain kind of way, in a creative way. And wow, in a short time, that company was the first trillion-dollar company. Think of people like Nelson Mandela. Now, that's an interesting thought, an interesting experience, because Nelson Mandela had the thought, and his thought was that the South African people, the Black Africans, should be free, should be able to live their land in freedom, in charge. And that thought so rattled the authorities in South Africa that he spent 27 years in jail. You know, all he had to do was change his mind. All he had to do is say, "You're right, boss. You're in charge. You're right about it. This is the way it should be." And he could have walked out of that prison. Or you talking about somebody real close. I'm in North Carolina, right up in Wilson, North Carolina. There's a lady named Tawana Williams. She was a lady, one of the thalidomide babies, and this was a medication that caused birth defects, and she was born without arms and even with an impaired leg. And so she had every possible excuse to fail, to not accomplish. But her grandmother told her, "Figure it out, Tawana." And she had the thought that she could be a speaker, that she could be a writer, that she could be a mom with no arms, that she could drive, that she could live a normal life with no arms. And that thought created the reality of her life. You should see some of her videos where she's burping her baby and feeding the baby with her feet, where she's signing autographs with her feet. And so what I'm saying is you don't have to be a big, powerful, impactful person on the world level. On the individual level, your ability to think, to be in control of your thoughts, gives you the ability to paint the creative masterpiece that is your life. So now, the question is, what thoughts are you permitting to come into your mind? See, any thought that you choose to come into your mind creates the vibration to manifest that thought in your life. So if you have thoughts of lack and limitation, then you will manifest lack and limitation in your life. But then if you have thoughts of abundance, you can manifest abundance in your life. Every creative discovery, every advance in civilization, in mankind, in relationships, is a result of somebody's thought. Someone who had the audacity to imagine. Can you think about it? Gandhi started out in South Africa, and he was going up against the entire United Kingdom, the British government, that massive government that had literally explored and controlled the entire planet to a large extent. But he had one thought, one idea of the freedom of his people. So he had the courage to believe it, the audacity to imagine it, and the persistence to pursue it. And so that's really what it's all about. Any thought that you have in your mind, if you pursue it, if you follow it, if you're committed to it, you can have it manifest. What's the law of manifestation? E, which is energy, which is vibration, equals MC squared. M is manifestation. Now, it appears to be a formula, but it's really about relationship, whether it's C or whatever. It's that every idea you have has an equivalent manifestation. Because every idea is energy, is a vibration, and any vibration will manifest in your life. Absolutely. The question is, you must choose the thought to create the experience you want to have. So the question today is this: how are you using your power of thought to transform and create the life you desire? Or are you letting negative thoughts come and undermine your joy, undermine your potential? Negative thoughts of lack and limitation, negative thoughts of sickness, negative thoughts of addiction, negative thoughts of bad relationships. So you have to ask yourself, well, where do negative thoughts come from? And that's a good question, because once you know their source, then it helps you to overcome the negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts. Your mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind, the God mind, operate based on what you put there. So your subconscious mind is like the most fertile earth. And whichever thought you put in that fertile earth is going to grow. It can be a thought of love, a thought of abundance, a thought of good health, it will grow. But then if you put it there and it's a thought of a thought of lack and limitation, that will grow too. A thought of ill health, that will grow too. I had an Aunt Lil and never ask her how she feels because she'll tell you. And my Aunt Lil was so focused on her illnesses, and you probably have an Aunt Lil in your family or a friend, but somebody that when you ask how they feel, they are so focused on the illnesses. She could describe in detail the high blood pressure, the diabetes. I mean, she would go through the medical dictionary. And I mean, she could go on for an hour. And so, where do these negative thoughts come from that come in and dominate our lives? Number one, they come from, you might say, a negative bias. It's almost a framework in our mind. There was a time when we lived in a world of such hostility. And even as a child, you learn what hurts. You learn the lesson that fire burns. And so you have almost a negative bias from that need to protect yourself. So, so negative thoughts can come from that. You know, people who, like, once you've been burned, you're not going to sit on or get near a stove again. I remember sitting on a stove, and I don't even like to get close to a fireplace these days. Past experiences. We can have failure after failure after failure, and that can color our potential for the future. Winston Churchill said that success is moving from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. So you have to overcome those past experiences by looking at them as lessons rather than as states of mind. Stress and anxiety can make you have negative thoughts. You know, people don't realize so often how finances impact your thinking so much. You know, when you have a home and you see things that need to be repaired and you just don't have the money to do it. You may want to go to school and transform your life through education, and there's just no money to do it. But that kind of stress and anxiety can make you have negative thoughts. Low self-esteem. Some of us were raised in negative environments where our parents, our siblings, our neighbors, the people around us were so critical that they created within this low self-esteem that you're not anything, you won't be anything, where you really don't feel that you're worthy of good stuff. That can create negative thinking. I'll tell you another one. Comparing yourself to other people. You know, one of the great things about being an only child is there's nobody to compare you to. Whatever it is, you got it. Okay? But when you compare yourself to other people, that can create negative thinking. You should be like your big sister. She's always studying, and what are you doing? Chasing boys. You should be like your big brother. He's a basketball player. What are you doing? Chilling. And then another thing that creates negative thinking is your environment. You know, birds of a feather flock together. Either you master your environment or your environment will master you. Sometimes you have to master your environment by getting out of there. So these are just some of the concepts. I wanted to point these out. This is where your negative thoughts come from. So how do you get rid of them? Because you see, you have to get rid of the negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts. So right now, if you find yourself inclined to have negative thoughts, 4 key steps. Just take a step back. If whatever's going on in your life right now is not the way you want it to be, if there are negative things that keep manifesting, constant failures and disappointments, bad people who don't uplift you, constantly being attracted in your life, take a step back. Step 2, acknowledge Acknowledge that whatever is coming into your life is the result of your own thinking. If you don't acknowledge that, then you're giving up your power to change it. Number 3, remember the feeling. I remember periods in my life when I was broken. I didn't like it. And I'm sure that many of you don't like it when you see the things you want and you can't get them. When you see things that can change your life, you want to go to school, you want to get an education, you want to learn a trade, and there's no money there. Now, you can overcome that, but when you get that feeling, you say, I'll never be here again. I'll never be broke again. I often talk about the lady whose refrigerator is so full, and I'm like, well, how many people live here? And she said, I keep a full refrigerator because as a child, I was always hungry. And I said that as a child, I'll never have an empty refrigerator again. Then the fourth key to get rid of this negative thinking is to clean house. Once you clean house, getting rid of the negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative habits, negative relationships, you prepare the deck for change. And look at, there are 4 types of thoughts, empowering thoughts. I like to call them the whose you are, the who you are, the who they are, and the where do I fit in thoughts. So the whose you are is to recognize that connection between you and the God mind by whatever name. You and infinite intelligence, you and the creator. It's like the prodigal son, when the conditions of his life were so bad, he thought about and he said, in my father's house, there are food enough and more. And so whatever condition you may be going through right now, you say, hey, in my father's house, in my higher consciousness, there's a way out. To recognize who you are, to get that understanding of the essence of who you are. You're a good person. You deserve good things. You have value. You have skills and talents. There's a nice section in the 12 Universal Laws of Success on how to improve your self-image, how to improve who you are. That's a major part of the journey in your success journey, improving who you are. To recognizing who they are, to understand the relationship between other people, thoughts with other people. How do you interact with them? How do you live by the golden rule? See, once you recognize these interactive thoughts with other people, now you can take control of your relationships. You can go from being a dependent person, dependent on somebody else for your validation, to being an independent person who defines for themselves who they are and how important you are. And then this, where do I fit in? It's thoughts about the world. You know, so often in the country that we're living in right now, and really a divided world. It's not just America. If you look around the entire world, it seems in many ways that everybody's gone completely mad. And so in a divided world, a stranger in a strange land, where do you fit in? And so it is these thoughts, these 4 levels of thoughts: whose you are, what is your source, who you are, your essence, who they are, your relationship to other people, and where you fit in. This now gives you a context to go on and put your plan into action, to do the process. Now to transform your life by transforming your thinking. And so what are the steps? What's the process? How does it happen? What do you have to do? 5 steps to transform your thoughts and thus transform your life. Step 1, see it. See the thought. You see, a thought is a description of a vision. And so see the thought. principle says, where there is no vision, the people perish. If you can't see the thought, it won't happen. So see it. Any thought that you want to have, any thought that you want to create in your life, see that thought as done. See the thought of abundance. See the thought of good health. See the thought of joy and happiness. Number 2, say it. The universe is spoken into existence. It says, in the beginning was the word. In your beginning is your word. So what you say about yourself determines who you are in the world. So when you say negative things about yourself, you're creating the negative vibration, which will attract things into your life that confirm that negative thought. Step 3, feel it. You see, that law of manifestation is a dual law. It has a rational aspect, which is the vision, but it has an emotional aspect, which is the feeling of the vision. So sometimes people talk in the path and walk in the grass. In other words, you'll have people who talk success, who talk accomplishment, who talk good health, but then turn around and drink beer all night, or get tired and don't lay out their daily game plan. So feel it so that you are congruent with the thought, congruent with what you say about yourself. The 4th key is to write it. The Habakkuk says, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. Though it may tarry, wait for it, it will surely come to pass. In the writing of that vision, in the writing of the thoughts that you want to experience in your life, you put it in such specific detail that the vibration necessary to attract that thought into your manifested life is so strong that you cannot fail. I guarantee you that each and every one of you listening today, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or in our mastermind group, anything that you really wanted, you got it. Anything that you refused to lose, you won. And then finally, step 5, you have to act on it. The rubber's got to hit the road. Scripture says, whatsoever your hand findeth to do, do it with all your might. That if you want this year to be your year for success, if you want this year to be your year that you get it done, that all the things that you wanted to be, do, and have manifest, it's within your power. It's within the choices you make. Nature hates a vacuum. If you don't put good thoughts into the world, if you don't see good thoughts that you want to experience, the world mind will fill your life with the thoughts it has for you. If you can't speak good thoughts about yourself, about the world, about others, to always say good things and create that good vibration, then the world will speak for you and tell you how you're not enough. You don't have what it takes. If you don't feel good about yourself, feel that you deserve whatever you're seeking, you deserve it, it's yours. Success is mine. And I mean, feel it down deep in your soul and in your spirit. If you don't feel good about yourself, the world will give you a feeling based on what it wants for you. If you don't write it down, if you don't write that vision and make it plain, then you'll forget what it is. You won't even be able to recite it over and over and over to burn it in your consciousness. And finally, if you don't act on it, if you don't take action, then you will forever be a slave. The story of life is really about being constantly written. The story of your life is being constantly written by the choices you make. So you have a choice to write the story yourself. It can be either his story for you, or it can be my story for me. So write yourself into the world with all the greatness that you have. Write yourself into the world with all the positive thoughts and visions that you have. Write yourself into the world with that feeling of power, that feeling of love, that feeling that radiates and draws unto you all good things. Write your story into the world that gives you the habits that empower you, that give you the ability to operate with maximum efficiency in creating the life of your dreams. Write your story into the world that attracts the people into your life that will help you, that attracts the people in their life that will motivate you and uplift you. Because when you can see it, when you can say it, when you can feel it, when you can write it down, nothing is impossible. And you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. Let's just take a deep breath. Let's just channel that feeling. So thank you so much for being with us this morning on Instagram, on Facebook, Mastermind Group. On our Mastermind Group, be sure to hang on so we can have our discussion. Those of you on Facebook, on Instagram, be sure to visit our website, herbertharris.com. You can click on book a call with me and have a success consultation. You can get your copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success and our Success Toolbox and many of the other transformational tools we have there for you. But always remember this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my friend Corey and Black Men Sundays. Thank you so much. So remember this, that you can be what you want to be. You can do what you want to do. You can have anything you desire through your thoughts, your choices, your feelings, and your actions. Always knowing that the best is yet to come.